Yo, I'm Gray, and I am making a scary tower defense game using Unreal Engine. Now, if you haven't seen either of my previous two devlogs, go watch them, but if you have and you simply forget, I'll give you a brief rundown anyways. In the first devlog, I made a player as well as 2 enemies. I made a simple map with a sphere as the base, and I made 4 turrets. Rocket turret, an AK turret, a Tesla, and a crossbow. Now, the whole premises of this game is it's supposed to be a scary tower defense. So it is a first-person game where the enemies can target you instead of just the base. So your life is at risk as well. I added inventory stuff such as enemy drops that can go towards making turrets. Devlog 2. I solely focused on making a better map because it was just a bland white map with a bunch of cubes. I chose to go down the route of making a randomly generated map. Now this allows for more replay value in games and overall just makes more interesting gameplay from run to run. I made a bunch of different rooms that can spawn. I made a bonus spawner, so 2 waves of enemies will be coming down from different sides, and the enemy would either have to switch up their strategy or plan ahead based on the map generation. That basically sums up the last 2 devlogs. If you want to know a little bit more or go into a little bit more detail of what I added, go watch them. But let's get into this devlog. Now, to start this off, I wanted to actually try to make the game somewhat scary. You know, it's going to be October, spooky theme, so I wanted to make it a little bit scarier. So I started off with lighting. Now, right now, the lighting is not really that good at all. It's pretty bright and it's just not scary. So to make the lighting a little bit more ominous, I started with making the world overall darker. Now this not only makes the rooms darker, but also makes outside much darker, for it was like broad daylight outside. Even though the sky is pitch black, it was simply just way too bright. I then had the idea of adding flickering lights. Every time the enemy hits the generator, the lights will flicker. Now at first when I tried adding this, I had problems with the enemies hitting the generator. That was a simple fix. I just made the enemies face the generator. But when I added the lights, it looked a little bland, I'll say. Every time the generator was hit, every light in the map would flicker. Now, it didn't look bad, but I wanted it to be a little bit cooler, so I made it so that different flicker animations play based on different percentages of the generator's health. Say if it's 50%, it'll play 1 flicker. If it's below 50%, it'll play 2. And I made it so that the light's intensity scales with the generator's health. If you're playing and the generator has 90% health, it's going to have 90% of the intensity. If it has 10, it's 10%, so your map is going to be that much darker. I also made it so that the lights have a certain percent chance of flickering based on percentages. At first, it may only be 1 in every 5 lights flicker, but when you get down to the last 20%, every light flickers. And once the generator is down, all the lights are off. I added a flashlight to the player so you can at least see a little bit, but it's still really dark. And overall, the flickering lights adds a good warning that your base is in danger, in case you didn't know something slipped past the defenses and got to the base. It's a cool, subtle, creepy warning. Right now, when the generator dies, the game still runs. So if you die even though the generator is alive, your game's over. You're ragdolled looking at the floor. So I made a mechanic where if you die when the generator is still alive, you can revive. And if you die while the generator is down, then it's game over. If you're still alive by the time the generator goes down, that means your game is still continued. You know, you're not out of the game just yet. I have plans for that on the future. But for now, generator's down, it's darkness. You're not out of the game just yet. Your turrets can still attack. So I made it so that the enemies now roam when the generator goes down. Basically, they used to choose between walking to the generator and going to the player, but now they choose between either going to the player if they see it, or they walk to the generator, or roam if the generator's dead. And if the generator's dead, they will simply just walk somewhere random and then just keep doing that on repeat. At this point, everything seemed to be working. Everything except new AI that spawns will still go to the generator. So, like any other sensible person would, I proceeded to spend the next 3 days of my life, around 3 hours each day, trying everything, and I mean everything, to fix this issue. But for some reason, I could not figure out why the AI would not roam, but old AI would. And my lack of knowledge on Unreal caught up to me. The issue turned out to be the fact that I mixed up a name variable to the name being its value. So the value of the variable was none the whole time. So every time I tried to fix, it would do nothing because it was a simple mistake that I kept overthinking. Although this is really frustrating that I wasted all this time working on this issue, pretty relieved I found it because I was starting to think it was impossible. I mean, I spent 3 days every day just working on it, and I just could not figure it out. And it turned out to be so simple. And one kind of sad part is I did it the correct way the first time. That's how the old AI would update. But just for some reason, the next time, I just did it wrong. And it was something so simple that could have easily been avoided. Wasted a lot of my time. But at least now the AI will actually roam. No matter if they just spawned in or been existing, if the generator's dead, they roam. One thing with making a scary game is atmosphere. Now, lighting is a big portion of it. I think I did a pretty okay job at making okay lighting for my game. But now, we gotta work on the next important thing. Sound. I need to make a sound effect for everything. This means walking, placing turrets, enemies attacking, moving around, turrets shooting. Any sound that should be played in this game, I have to make. So I spent the rest of the month messing around with sound design. And before you judge, just know I'm pretty new to all of this. From the models in Blender, to the rig on the models, to the animation, to the materials, to the coding, and last of all, sound effects. There's so much that goes into making a game. It's just a lot, and I feel like it's hard to do it all perfectly. I'm fully expecting to revamp a lot of this, work on it in the future in order to make it overall better. But for now, here are some of the sound effects I made for the game. Now, that is all I got done for this month with my game. And I think we made quite some progress. Going from a game that is not at all scary to a game that is ready to be a scary tower defense. Now, I don't think it's too scary yet, although there has definitely been times when an enemy snuck past my defense and took out my generator and snuck up on me and it caught me off guard. But it's not like I was really scared. It was just kind of like, oh, I didn't know you were there. So at some point in the future, I definitely want to make the game scarier, whether it's with the new enemies I plan to add in the future, or just how I'm going to make that map more interactive, which is most likely going to be the next devlog on November 6th. I will be making the map more interactive with perhaps a way to disable the bonus spawner or suppress it. Definitely a way to reboot the generator, because right now it is really inconvenient to take out those roaming AI, and rebooting a generator will not only give you way more vision, but also make it way easier to kill the AI because they actually have a goal to travel to. And I will likely be making something where the generator shuts down turrets. Now hear me out. It might be a little bit of a stretch, but I'm going to try to make it work where when the power goes down, the generator or the turrets power off. Now, this definitely is striving a little bit away from a tower defense, but this is to lean more into the horror aspect of it, where now you have to survive until you can reboot the generator. And then once you do that, you can go back to tower defense gameplay. Now, if you find this interesting or looking forward to the next devlogs, be sure to like and subscribe. Like I said, I've been uploading them for every month. This is the third one. And yeah, I also post daily gaming videos if you are interested in that. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.